Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. HBO's Big Little Lies, one of the great ensembles of this season. Joining us today from that group, he plays Ed, Reese Witherspoon's very chill, very grounded husband, Mr. Adam Scott.
Hello, Glenn.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You know, it's funny, right after the finale of this 7-episode, all gone much too soon, limited series, people are already saying, well, could there be a second season of Big Little Lies?
Yeah.
And I would be reading on the internet like, Reese Witherspoon's really sad that Big Little Lies is over. You know, she really misses it. And now I think there's like some talk, right?
I guess so. I mean, I know that, all I know is from what I've read as well. I actually didn't speak to anyone about it. We weren't talking about it when we were making it. It just felt like we were just making the limited series, but
based on a novel.
Liane Moriarty.
Right.
But I saw in some interview she said, I could see another life for these characters, and
yeah, she said in an interview like she's almost been tasked to find a more life for these characters.
I mean, I think there's more story there certainly because what happened. It was a huge event, clearly at the end of the finale, and there's still a lot of stuff. A lot was left unsaid.
Yes,
but there's also something great about that being the end as well. Yeah. So I think it's a terrific ending that Jean-Marc put together there. But I also think, if there's room for more, if they want to do more. But I think it's cool to end on such an ambiguous note as well.
Well, where do we see Ed at the crime scene? I can't remember.
No, well, I mean,
or is the last thing we see of Ed singing "The Wonder of You"?
No, Ed is there comforting Madeleine after when the cops are there and stuff. But the crime scene was sort of off a little bit removed from where the stage was and stuff. So no one was really witnessing what happened except the 4 women.
Right.
Or 5 women. I'm imagining that Ed and Nathan and the other people were kind of the secret must be between the 4 women, 5 women at least. That's what I'm guessing.
What do you think? I mean, so we don't get really any closure.
Yeah.
Would you like on Ed and Madeleine?
Yeah.
What do you think happens with them? Because there's some tension.
Yeah. I think that in singing the song that he chose that song for a specific reason, which was to speak directly to his wife. Things sort of come to a head there at the party, and I think Ed's suspicions that he didn't want to fully explore for fear of what he might learn. I think he was finally the tipping point finally came when they walked into the party and he kind of put it all together.
There's a lot of eye contact between the parties.
Yes, and so I think there was Ed sort of ran the gamut before actually getting on stage, and I think the process of actually singing that song kind of put Ed. He found his love for his wife again and decided that none of that stuff ultimately matters as much as the 2 of us. And so I feel like by the end of the song, he was back in and had made a decision. But then she wasn't there. By the end of the song, she's off,
But she had been kind of overcome, I think, with emotion.
Exactly.
And I think I remember reading an interview with, maybe it was Jean-Marc, saying maybe finally Madeleine realizes she has a pretty good guy here,
and a great life that the 2 of us built together and everything, and I thought that was incredibly played by Reese. It was an amazing moment.
Now, Ed had chosen Suspicious Minds,
Exactly.
maybe it would have been just an entirely different.
That's right. Different reaction, different sounding song.
Season 2 would be.
I don't know if I would have wanted to see Ed interpret Suspicious Minds, dance-wise.
Well, I mean, and there's we had a few reader questions. I mean, because you didn't your voice is not the voice we're hearing
That's right.
on The Wonder of You.
That's right.
Even though, damn it, you took voice lessons.
Yeah. Well,
you put in the work.
That's right. The song that I took voice lessons for actually wasn't The Wonder of You. It was the song I sang in the house when Madeline comes home and I'm rehearsing.
What song was that?
What was that one called? It's another Elvis song.
Elvis ballad.
Yeah, I'm just not a singer at all, and so this voice teacher Joni Pimentel, she's incredible, and my daughter actually is successfully taking lessons with Joni. Joni's incredible, but that song when I'm rehearsing at home, I'm not a singer, and I probably would have needed 14 more lessons to actually get to a passable place.
Yeah.
So they smartly dubbed in someone else's voice, because it wasn't, not that it should have sounded incredible, but it shouldn't be distractingly bad. The scene still needs to function.
Like we were saying, it had to produce this response in Madeline that, oh, wow.
Yeah, but even the song in the house needed to be, it could be sort of bad, but it couldn't be like destructively bad. It needed to still be fun and not
Is that
entirely
you singing the song in the house? Or
no, same singer as at the end, yeah.
Now I got to go back and watch it.
Lovely singer.
But you like to sing. I've heard about family karaoke night.
Yeah, that's not broadcast ready, that's for sure.
But you enjoy singing. I mean, for someone who says, and I read an interview that your go-to karaoke song is Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Billy Joel's song.
Yeah.
That's not an easy song to sing.
No, and nor do I make it sound easy when I give it a shot. Within the confines of my house, fine. But
right.
anywhere else, I think it would be tragic.
Yeah. We had a lot of reader questions about U2.
Yeah.
So, because you did the U2 podcast with Scott Aukerman.
That's right.
What would be your go-to U2 karaoke song?
Oh man, talk about tough songs to sing. I mean, good Lord. I mean, they have so many great songs. If I could sing, if singing was something that I could do.
If you had 14 more lessons.
Yeah, if I could pull off a U2 song, I think maybe Kite would be a great song to be able to belt out and don't you think?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Though.
Tough. Yeah, they're all tough.
Seems like one could be just your basic bread and butter U2 karaoke.
Bring down the house.
Yeah.
Get everyone kind of teary-eyed and then drop the mic and walk out.
Yeah.
Disappear from the planet forever.
What was it like to film that trivia night where they had all the people dressed up as the Elvis in the Elvis costumes, the Audrey Hepburn costumes?
Yeah.
That just looked like a scene. Was that like just fun to be kind of wandering around? Because so much of this series was sort of shot in sort of an improvisational 360 degrees sort of thing. So was that just fun to be on that set?
Yeah, it was amazing. Jean-Marc Vallée, the director of all 7 episodes, and his director of photography, Yves, they shoot, like you said, 360 degrees. So there's no video village, which is where everyone sort of watches on monitors what's being shot. There are no lights, and there's just one camera. So you can shoot anywhere and you're going to get usable footage. You're not going to run into, production accoutrement and have to cut it out. So, so it's at all times, anything is at Jean-Marc's fingertips to shoot. All the actors were there and it took 9, I believe 9 evenings to shoot from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to shoot that sequence. It took a while, but it's understandable why it took a while when you think about the fact there was one camera, and also how complicated by the final episode, how complicated all of the relationships were.
Right.
Not just with the main characters, but also the Greek chorus and all of those eyes on everybody, and keeping track of what's going on, the people on stage, their point of view of everybody in the audience, and so it was amazing to kind of watch Jean-Marc and Yves map it all out and find the logic and all of the different, because you had to be, you didn't want to miss anything and not get one person's glance over at another that could be potent. And they used everything. I mean, they took all of that footage and cut it together brilliantly.
Ed's beard is gone by,
That's right.
by trivia night.
That's right.
Was that a choice like, well, first let's get growing the beard.
Yeah.
Because you're from Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So you thought that was kind of a Santa Cruz, Northern California or Central Coast sort of thing.
Yeah, I grew up, it's like a 20-minute drive from Monterey, so I grew up right nearby, and like we drove to Monterey for our prom in high school. So I felt pretty strongly at the beginning, like I think I know this guy, this sort of Bay Area work from home dad he has a beard and he has a fleece pullover or two. And so I told Jean-Marc that I felt like this guy needed a beard. And at first he wasn't super into it, but then he's a terrific, he's very collaborative. So he got on board pretty quickly, and then had the idea of, let's get the beard, but then let's shave it for the performance at the end. And
because he's kind of laying himself, it's part of like laying himself bare.
Yeah. You know? I also thought maybe this is something that maybe Madeline never loved the beard, sort of put up with the beard.
Okay.
And so this was another sort of step toward her. And,
we had one reader asking, Melissa was asking, how long does it take you to grow this thick Ed beard?
It was a monster of a beard.
It was a monster.
I took video of myself shaving it off, and it took a while.
You were hauling out like a hefty bag of the
exactly.
clippings there.
Put my kids to work. How long did it take? A few months. I mean, that's, really? And then we were shooting for like 6 months, so just kind of let it go the whole time and tried to keep it under control.
Did your wife like the beard more than Madeline, maybe, or was she happy to?
I think at first she was fine with it, but by the time I think by the time I cut it off, everyone was ready to. Yeah. Because it leaves a trail of itself everywhere you go. Like your pillow at home is covered in little black curly hairs, which no one likes.
No. What's the difference between Santa Cruz and Monterey?
That's a good question. I mean, I never spent a ton of time in Monterey. Like I said, we went to prom there, but I never spent like, a few days there. It's just this nearby. I mean, Carmel is Clint Eastwood was the mayor of Carmel. In fact, in our little Bay Area community, the mayor's race in Carmel, the mayor debate was broadcast on local television, and so we got to watch Clint Eastwood debate whatever straw man was running against him. And I remember as I was in elementary school and I called, because they were taking questions from the audience, and I got a question through to Clint Eastwood.
What was your question? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I remember my dad was proud of me because it tripped him up. It was a deceptively simple question, but it kind of threw him for a second. And my dad, being a proud Democrat, was happy about that. But I think he was a fine mayor.
It doesn't really take much to be mayor of Carmel.
Yeah, you're Clint. I mean, I would have voted for him.
Yeah.
So I know, Santa Cruz is a bit more on the sort of the groovier side. It's a college town.
Got the mountains there.
Got the mountains. It's a kind of a granola vibe. It's got the beach. It's got an amusement park. It's a beautiful, terrific community.
Yeah.
Town.
The difference between the Monterey in Big Little Lies and the Monterey of Monterey, the real Monterey is kind of big too, I think.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I know that there is a lot of money in Monterey, certainly.
Right. I'm not sure that the women of Big Little Lies would be going down to Fisherman's Wharf for even though that coffee place was great.
Yeah.
And the guy who ran it was obviously a really stand-up
Joseph
guy.
Cross, who's a great actor. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, if he's running the coffee house, I go there.
Sure, of course.
But probably the locals are not going to Fisherman's Wharf. It'd be like here in LA going down to the Santa Monica Pier for coffee. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you talked about the 360 degrees, and I mean, another thing about filming this, Jean-Marc Vallée, is like just sort of an intimate feel where sometimes it's just him, maybe the cinematographer, maybe not, maybe and just the sound guy.
Yeah.
Did that really help with the intimate scenes between you and Rhys and the more kind of vulnerable moments?
It really did. I mean, over the years, I've been doing it a while, so I've learned you don't block out the camera and the mics and the video village. You don't block it out, but you learn to absorb it and make it part of, just kind of accept it and don't let it inhibit you. That's kind of what I've learned to do. For a long time, I was trying to kind of just ignore, but I've found it's better to just kind of take it in and let it be there and learn not to care about it. Whereas when there's nothing there, there aren't any lights, and it's just the two actors and the director, and sometimes Jean-Marc was even holding the camera, but it was Jean-Marc Yves, the cinematographer, sound. It was really a quiet room, and sometimes it was, it's not lit. There aren't, lights up, and maybe there's just a lamp on in the room, and then a little bit of sunlight coming in. It really did feel intimate, and it really, you get connected really quickly, and it was a whole new way of working that I loved. I just thought I could see why Rhys would keep, wanting to make stuff with them.
Yeah.
It really, the actors loved it. I think we all kind of felt immediately connected to each other and the material.
Was that part of the attraction of doing this? Because I think you're known mostly for comedy.
Right.
But you get to play these really beautiful, open wound scenes with Rhys. You know? Where Ed's saying, I don't want to be a runner-up. I don't want to be, and was that like, wow?
Yeah, the writing was unbelievable. I think I read the first 6, because I auditioned for the part. I really wanted to be a part of it, and so I jumped at the chance to, as you said, I'm mostly known for comedy, so I jumped at the chance to audition for Jean-Marc, and I read the first 6, I believe, and they're just incredible scripts.
Did you wonder about 7?
Yes.
Did you like, okay, well, what's going to happen in 7?
I hadn't read the book at that point, so I really had no idea what was going to happen.
Did you ask when you went in? You were like, okay.
Yeah, and they were keeping the last episode, or kind of holding it back until the production started, I think, and then we all had read the book by that point anyway, but then got to kind of read how they were going to wrap it up.
Were you wondering if Ed was the guy who actually,
Yeah, oh, totally.
Could be?
Yeah, as were people. That was an interesting thing of watching the show unfold when it was airing, and how people were perceiving me, Ed's character, as well as the other characters. But week to week, like after Ed visits Zoe Kravitz's character at the yoga studio, and he's walking out, and he just kind of checks out the woman walking by, kind of looks at her butt just for a split second, and that changed everyone's perception of Ed immediately. people, and the visit to the yoga studio was maybe a little odd, and so
It was a little odd. He had that kind of weird thing he said to the Zoe Kravitz.
That's right.
character. Yeah.
That's right. And so it was interesting week to week watching people's perception of each character change and how close to a killer they thought someone could
Well, there
be.
were those scenes with Ed and Madeline's ex-husband.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Does
James
one
Tupper.
Does
yeah.
one of them kill each other? You know, you
Right.
never knew. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of always knew. I think that it was going to zero in where it did. But
Yeah.
as you say, people were kind of giving you.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to watch, but it was also I could tell it was so much fun for people to watch it as it unfolded. They cut it together just perfectly, I thought.
Yeah.
To keep that suspense going for 7 weeks is not easy.
We have a few questions we're asking everyone who comes in.
Oh, cool.
So what is the last show that you binge watched?
Oh, that's a good question. I am usually binge watching 2 or 3 at a time.
Okay.
Like right now, I'm rewatching season 4 of House of Cards because I know the next one's coming, and I just wanted to remember exactly where we were.
Little refresher.
Little refresher. I'm kind of dipping in and out of it. Catastrophe just came out, but their seasons are so short. It's easy to rip through that, and it's such a brilliant show. I really wish there were dozens more episodes. Yeah, those are both terrific shows. Trying to think what else. Veep is always worth going back and rewatching. Yeah, those are the ones. Oh, my wife and I introduced her to Battlestar Galactica recently because we were making a pilot that had some sci-fi elements, and so wanted to kind of show her this. She had never seen it, and it is brilliant as well. I hadn't seen it in years.
So that's one you're enjoying watching her watch.
Yeah, and kind of reabsorbing it myself because it's been a while. It's so good.
If you could go back and be on any classic television show, what would it be?
I have two kind of a genre. I would have loved to be able to be in one of the 80s hour-long like Simon and Simon type shows. Simon and Simon was a bit of an action comedy. The two partners kind of out on a case. It looked really fun. Lots of stunts, and it looked like a blast. But then also Cheers. It's such a it looks like it felt, and by reading press of everyone involved and talking to Ted Danson a little bit, it felt like an acting company. You're putting on a play every week, and that show it was just perfection for its entire run. It was amazing how sharp all the actors were and how just perfect the jokes were. The characters were unbelievably good, and they really hit you in the gut sometimes. Right. Had a huge heart to it. It's just a great show. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to have a guest spot on Cheers, I guess.
If you had to choose Walter White or Tony Soprano?
To play or just as a person?
As a character. Who's...
Wow. Better Call Saul is one that I just rewatched as well. That's a terrific show.
Yeah.
My goodness.
A whole new thing.
I feel like Walter White, while is a little more merciful. I don't know. They're both ruthless. Or maybe it's Tony Soprano is the one that would take mercy. Because I would be afraid of either of them killing me. So I would choose the one that's least likely to kill me. Yeah. Maybe Tony Soprano, since I have some Sicilian blood in me, I could reason with him.
Yeah. Do you remember your first acting job?
Yeah, my first professional acting job. Like speaking part or like extra work? Or my first speaking part was on a pilot for MTV called Dead at 21. Do you remember this show?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't think I think once MTV stopped showing videos, it's probably, I guess I watched Real World some.
Yeah. This is 1994.
All right.
It's my first acting job. And then before that, I was in a Tia Carrere music video, but I was an extra. I did extra work for a while.
What was your so in a Tia Carrere music video? Are you just like, was there a plot in this music video, or were you just like somebody who was a fan? Or
it was a coffee shop, and I had a beret on my own. I brought it. And I was drinking coffee while she was sitting on a staircase in the old Tribune building down here. We shot it. I've shot things there since, and the exact staircase where Tia Carrere was singing, and I was at a table with another extra beside her. I never saw the music video, but that was a big deal. And I took it very seriously, and the girl that I was sitting with was like, what is your problem? All we have to do is sit here. We don't have to come up with like character bios.
Yeah. But you were into it.
I was super into it.
That's why you're sitting here right now.
Yeah, because of that moment. That's
right.
right.
I'm going on YouTube right, when this is over and just doing a search. And
yeah, I've never looked for it. It might be out there.
Okay, where's your phone? We're
exactly.
doing this right now.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
It's been great.
Always good to be here.
All right.
Thanks.
And for more of these Emmy conversations, please go to latimes.com. Thanks for watching.